friends, welcome back to my crafty space. My name is Crystal Idunyate, and today I am excited to jump back into my summer stories album for 2022. My album this year for the summer is inside of a spiral bound notebook from Mochi Things, which I will have linked in the description box down below. So far, I have created my cover page, my introductory pages, and my very first layout. Today, we're going to be working on my next layout, which is going to span over both of the pages here. So it's going to be a full spread, and it's all about a trip that our family took to celebrate the beginning of summer at Cedar Point. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead, get you on fast forward so I can quickly put this together, voice over the top, and get this layout done. Actually, before we get too far ahead of ourselves here, let me quickly talk about supplies that I'm using today so that I can make sure to mention them here at the beginning and not forget later on in this video. So first of all, I have a handful of stamp sets that I'm going to be working with. I am going to choose between these two alphabet stamps. This one is the Fern Alpha from Paper Person, and this one is the Teach Alpha from the Ali Edwards Teach Story Kit. This was one of the add-on stamps that you could get when that kit came out. In addition to those, I've also got the awesome story stamp from Ali Edwards, and I have two travel stamps, one that's called Adventure and one that's called Best Time. These are also both from Ali Edwards, and I believe they were part of the 2021 travel release. So they're not available anymore, but in case they are somewhere in your stash, maybe this will inspire you to pull them out and use them to help tell some stories. Aside from the stamps that I'm using today, I've also pulled out a small collection of ephemera pieces. Some of these are from the Ali Edwards travel collections. These little Admit One wood veneer tickets, those are from Colorcast Design. And then I've also got a couple of different colors of tiny phrase stickers that I may use to help decorate some of the photos and add a little bit more words onto my page. So that's what I'm going to be pulling from in order to put my stories together. I'm also going to go over and grab a couple of different inks. I'm not sure what those will be, but I'll be sure to mention them in the voiceover. All right, so now let's actually officially get started on this layout. Getting started on my layout for today, I am bringing over all of my photos and putting them into place where they're going to go on this layout. For this one, I kept all of my photos within the confines of the different boxes, except for the photo that's in the upper right-hand corner. I did make that one a little bit taller, so it would cover up the box where you could essentially put a roller date stamp date in there. I only need the one box, which I'm going to use the one in the upper left-hand corner to add my date. Once I have all of those pieces here on my layout, so all the photos and the journaling, next I'm bringing over my stamps, and this one I'm using the Teach Story stamp, or no, it's the Teach Alpha stamp from Ali Edwards. I did also bring over the Paper Person one just to get a comparison on what the size would be, but ultimately decided I liked the Teach Alpha the best. So I'm leaving that up there. Now, one thing that did happen on the left side of this page is there is a little tiny bit of ghosting from my stamping in the previous layout. So I will debate whether or not to stamp Cedar Point directly into those boxes, or if I should cut some new cardstock and add that in there and stamp on top of that, or I'm just going to go through the process of figuring out what to do with that, because I'm afraid that if I stamp with black ink Cedar Point, that the cedar is going to actually ghost through to the opposite side and ruin part of the work that I did on the previous layout. So we'll see, or you'll see here in just a little bit, the solution that I come up with. In the meantime, I have also pulled off some stamps from the awesome story stamp to create some titles. One of them says a story of awesomeness, and the other one just says totally cool, I think. Something along those lines. And then I grabbed this little tiny rainbow as well that I'm thinking of layering behind the totally cool sentiment. Here is where I am going to try cutting out some white cardstock to add into the boxes where the title is. I'm then using my archival black ink from Close to My Heart to stamp out the words Cedar on one and Point on the other. Once I get this done, I will put it back on top of my album or on top of the layout that I'm working on just to see what that looks like, and ultimately decide I'm not really a big fan of that either. I like the font, I like the scale of the alphabet. It's just because the other boxes are kind of an off-white color, I don't necessarily want there to be such a strong contrast with the stark white of the cardstock. So I'm going to go to plan B, and that is to go through my alphabet stickers and pull out a set that has the right size and scale. This one right here is kind of a lighter green color or lighter blue color, and I could have used it as is. I think it would have been okay with that bluish color in the layout, but ultimately I really want this to be bold. So I took a paint pen and colored over the top of the letters that I would need to turn them black. Then I decided to take the alphabets that I had already stamped out and to go ahead and fussy cut them to see if that would solve the problem of the ghosting. And it would. I actually do really like the way that Cedar Point looked in the outline stamp, but I also had colored in these alphabets, and once they're colored, there's really no going back. So I figured I might as well try them out and see what they would look like in those boxes, and it turns out that they're just a little bit taller and they fill in more of the box. So I actually like them a lot better. There's this boldness to them that draws your eye directly to the title and gives you that punchiness when you're looking at the album or when you're looking at this particular layout. So I'm going to choose to go with these alphabet stickers. Right now, I'm just very, very lightly adhering them down into those boxes just so I can see what this is going to look like. And then I will peel them all back up very carefully so I don't rip the paper and put them into place so that they are centered and even across the box. So that's what we're going to do here next. When I'm working with stickers like these, I love to pull out my craft tweezers because they help me to have a better visual on where I am placing things. I have a hard time knowing if I'm placing something down right if I'm using my fingers because my hands just get in the way of my eyesight. So for me, I love using craft tweezers, and I find that I'm able to put things onto the page much straighter and more in line with all of the other pieces. So there is my title, and you can see now how it's just really nice and bold. I super, super love that particular font. I don't know what it is, but I love that font. Now that I have the title piece done, I'm going to go throughout the spread and do all of the rest of my stamping. So I grabbed over 2 of my new Studio Calico inks, and I'm going to try to remember what they're called. I think this darker pinkish red color is Poppy, and the lighter pink, I don't remember, but I'll be sure to link that up in the description box down below. We'll see if I pull it back over and then I can tell you, but I might not. So the rainbow is there, and then I'm stamping the sentiment over top. Oh, and it's not super cool. It just says super. So the title piece for that journaling is super, and then the opposite side, which I'm going to pull all of these photos off and then go ahead and stamp my title here. This one says A Story of Awesomeness, and it fits across that larger box there in the middle. It goes slightly beyond the box, and that's totally fine with me. I don't mind that at all. I actually kind of like the way that it interacts with the edges of the box. For my journaling, I printed this on some clear sticker paper, and I'm trimming down all of the excess so I can just position that exactly where I want it to go inside of those boxes underneath the stamped titles. I do have some new sticker paper on its way to me in the mail. It is going to be a matte clear sticker paper. The one that I have right now is a glossy clear sticker paper, and really it doesn't bother me too much that it's glossy. I actually think it's probably fine, but I wanted to try out the matte clear sticker paper just to see what the difference was in terms of how it goes onto the page. So I've put that on there, and now I can see that there's a little bit of a gap in between where it says a story of awesomeness and then the journaling below that. So I will end up pulling back over my stamp set again, specifically the awesome stamp set, and I will get a subtitle that I can put right underneath the word awesomeness, and I'm going to do that in a colorful ink. I think Poppy is the one that I pick, and that's just going to help me bring more of that color over to the right side of the page. Before I did that, so while I was talking just now, I also adhered down 2 ephemera pieces into that blank space on the left-hand side. The wood veneer ticket that says admit 1, that came from Colorcast Design. I did look on the website and it's no longer available on the website, but I highly recommend checking out Colorcast Design for these kinds of wood veneer pieces. They are super thin, which makes them perfect for putting into an album like this one. I also had the cardstock white ticket stub that is from an older travel collection from Allie Edwards, and I picked that one specifically just because it had a camera on the top, and I liked the way that the 2 textures or the 2 types of material layered together there in the middle of the page. So I have gone ahead and added my subtitle, which says "So totally thankful for this," I believe. That is underneath the story of awesomeness, and that little block of text is talking about going on the Power Tower with Isabella, which was the only super big ride that we went on at the park. We weren't sure if we were going to be able to talk her into trying out a bigger ride, but they had a smaller version that she super loved. That's the one where you can see the 2 kids in the tree sort of ride. It's in the middle of the left-hand side. They loved that ride. So I suggested going on the bigger version, and she was totally down, which surprised us, and then ended up super loving it. And she went on it twice, once with me and once with Erin. So that was totally a story of awesomeness. I did also stamp the sentiment "so fun" on the photo of Izzy driving in the spaceship ride, which you can kind of see there at the bottom. Actually, you can see it now that I've moved all those tiny phrase stickers. And I'm finishing this page up by going through those tiny phrase stickers from the travel collection from last year and picking out a couple, 2 of each color to add to the layout. So one of the sets that I picked out were 3 that say the word "go" with an exclamation point, and I'm going to layer all 3 of those onto this picture from the Power Tower and then call this done. All right, friends, that completes my layout for today. I am super excited by how this one came together, and so glad that I decided to go with these sticker alphabets instead of the stamping. I just think it made it a little bit more bold for my title there, and ultimately having all of these photos and the stories of this special spontaneous day just makes my day that it's in here. I hope that you enjoyed seeing how this layout came together. If you did, I would love a thumbs up on this video down below, and be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already so you can follow along on all of my crafty adventures. I am going to be back very soon with another layout inside of this album, and I've also got some other layouts in my regular scrapbooking projects planned for the days ahead as well, so keep an eye out for those. Until next time, friends, have a great rest of your day, and I will catch you in the